Well, bigger isn't always better. Smaller is the way to go in tonight's one-tank trip.
WFMZ's Karen Millette is at a new kind of resort that will have you rethinking your own space.
4 bedrooms, 2-car garage, big yard, typical American home. What if you gave it all up for this? 100 square feet of space for you and your hopefully likable loved ones. Even if you don't want to trade it all in to live here, it would be fun to stay for the night. Give tiny living a chance, or even just to see the inside. You can satisfy your tiny house curiosity at Tiny Estates in Lancaster County, a 14-acre property in Mount Joy Township near Elizabethtown. There are 16 tiny homes here, with plans for about 100. Every weekday on the hour from 11 to 2, you could take a tour and peek inside.
They were bigger than I expected, to be honest. Yeah, you see them on TV and in pictures, and it's really hard to get a gist of what they actually feel like and whether you could live in them.
Tiny Estate CEO Hobson never even thought of living in one until about 2 years ago, when she was working in the private sector as a forensic investigator for white-collar crimes.
I was working in corporate America, hated the day-to-day of, what that looks like in Philly. Decided I wanted to move home.
On a family trip to Colorado to the tiny house and simple living jamboree, she came back to PA with an aluminum frame and plans to build a tiny house of her own. But as she built it, Hobson says no matter where she had her tiny house, she was told it couldn't stay there.
So when I thought you couldn't have a tiny house on the East Coast because no one was building them, it was really because of zoning. People were building them, but they were ending up in Colorado and California and on the West Coast because of zoning.
It spurred her to create her own tiny home community. The tiny one she created was the first at Tiny Estates, which is built on the old Ridge Run campground, so zoning isn't an issue. You can book a tiny home for a night stay at around $135 a night, but you'll have to decide how tiny you want to go. The smallest tiny home is just 100 square feet.
Everybody wanted to go bigger and better and huger, and now everybody's going smaller, which is kind of ironic. Modular homes used to be so small to people, and now it's like, how do we make it even tinier than that and easier to tow, and people are always pushing the limits.
Less space doesn't mean you do away with design. If anything, every inch needs to be imagined to make living doable and durable. The tiny homes here are built to last about 100 years.
So you can truly bank on building it and living in it and leaving it for the next generation.
Determined to downsize, even with 3 kids, on a one-tank trip to Tiny Estates. Karen Millette, 69 News.
All right, if you'd like to check out a tiny home for yourself, you can plan your trip to the resort. We have posted a link to book a stay at WFMZ.com/one-tank-trip.
I like that idea.
Downsizing is one thing.
Yeah.
Everything gone sizing is a different thing. I don't know if I could do it.
I don't know.